Yo, what's good, guys? So today I'm gonna be talking about Bambietta and possible optimizations, maybe little buffs that she's gonna get. So yeah, as we all know, Soul Resonance usually does give characters optimizations or little buffs a few days after they release, and I don't think it's gonna be any different here. Bambietta should get some type of optimizations because she doesn't function the best. And yeah, I'm gonna be talking about the optimizations that they could do to improve her by a lot. So number one, obviously the Volston dish problem. So for example, if I go into Volston dish right here, let me just get spiritual pressure. Yeah, let's say I go into Volston dish right here. Boom. So if I switch off of her, I just lose the Volston dish. So that's just a bunch of damage that you lose. Like the basic attacks do a lot of damage, the ultimate does a lot of damage, and sometimes you might actually lose a buff while you're trying to, get her stuff off, just because it takes so long. Like for example, if I think it takes like 12 seconds, but let me just check. Alright, so if I go into Volston dish, this, when you entry through her entry skill, you actually start on the third basic. But you can see how long it takes. It just takes way too long, but it does millions of damage, so you kinda need to do it. So yeah, but you can lose a buff, or be losing a buff, and then you switch out of her, and you lost the Volston dish. So you lost millions of damage. So obviously that's something they gotta remove, in my opinion. At least they gotta remove the switching part. Now let's say, for example, the technique can be useful in this situation. For example, like for if you enter her Volston dish through her entry skill, she actually gets an attack buff. So sometimes you might not have the attack buff and you want to get the attack buff to go through a real ultimate, so you kinda go and then you use your technique and then you go into your ultimate, so you get the attack buff, since you don't get it if you enter an ultimate like this. So yeah, so her technique I actually don't mind too much, but switching out of her, losing the ultimate is stupid. So that's one of the things they gotta switch. Second thing, obviously the duration of the basic attacks is just too long. It takes like 12 seconds to get it all off. It is too much. Intervals than this, obviously. So I do think there's two ways to fix it, and I'm pretty sure they're gonna do one of them. So number one is just increase a basic attack speed. So if you increase her attack speed, pretty much you will do this pretty quickly, and you can get more ultimates off, which in the long run is going to buff her damage by a lot. And yeah, it's just much better, much smoother, since you can switch off of her. So you get it all off real quick, and then you switch into the character, get the buffs going, and then you can go back to her, whatever. So that's one way to fix it, which is probably the best. The second way is to just make her do one basic attack rotation to get her ultimate. So pretty much, if I go over here, so I do this first. This is probably not the best showcase, but yeah, I do this rotation, boom, and then I get the ultimate instead of getting this 50% thing because of the core stamp. Because if you didn't know, the core stamp actually kinda nerfs her in a way. Obviously it makes her better, but I don't know. The old thing that, where is it? While involved in this, reduces spiritual pressure caused by 50%. So that whole thing is what makes you have to do 2 basic attack rotations, because if you remove the core stamp, I can actually even show you. So let me remove it, and then if I go into practice, you're gonna notice that I just need to do 1 full basic attack rotation to get the ultimate off. So yeah, let me show you that. So I do this, and I already have the ultimate. So the core stamp kinda nerfs her in a way, but obviously it is better to have the core stamp since the buffs are that good. But it's just so annoying. Like, it should be the reverse way. You should have to do 2 full basic attack rotations, and then with the core stamp you only have to do 1, but they went reverse on that for some reason. So yeah, I do think that needs a change, honestly. Remove that. Remove this volume boost and this shit and thing, because yeah, that kind of messes up a little bit. So yeah, that's what I probably would change about Bambietta, but we gonna see probably tomorrow. Hopefully, if they don't do nothing, it's just stupid, but hopefully they do some optimizations about Bambietta. And yeah, man, hopefully she does work a little better with Aizen and Kisuke, even though it's not her team, I know that, but you know, it's what we got. And plus, that thing with the non be able to switch, otherwise you'll lose your Volt Stun Dish and stuff like that, is not gonna be good with anyone. I can't see that being good with anybody. So they kind of need to make it in a way where you can kind of play the tactic unit as well and get the buffs from the support. So yeah, she needs a little change, but nothing too crazy. But yeah, hopefully optimizations tomorrow, and yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll see you next time.